The readings today teach us that if we welcome somebody into our home or into our life in the name of God, miracles happen. If we welcome somebody in the name of God into our home or into our life, miracles happen. In the first reading, we see this woman of importance who welcomes the prophet Elisha into her home. And she recognizes that he's holy, and she decides to set up a room for him and to kind of show him this special hospitality. And not looking for anything in return, but the prophet does ask her. God speaks to her through the prophet, what do you want? And she desires to have a child, and before the year's out, she gets a child. This is reminiscent of a story in Genesis with Abraham and Sarah. They're in their old age, and these three mysterious people show up at their house, and something in them elicits hospitality. Say, come into our home, let us wash your feet, let us care for you. And before the end of that year, these angels tell them that you too will bear a child. And Sarah laughed. When we welcome somebody into our home in the name of God, miracles happen. Jesus tells us in the gospel, whoever receives you receives me. If you welcome a little child and give them a cup of water because you disciple in my name, you will be blessed because of this. I had a recent experience which really kind of brought these words to life in my own experience as a priest. In March, I got a call from a Mexican family that I know from parish ministry, and they were letting me know about a Venezuelan family that had come on hard times. It was two sisters living together with their husband and their daughters. They each had a daughter. And this Mexican family didn't know them really well, but had heard that this young mother had gotten cancer. And she's about 40 years old, and she was kind of in the final stages. And so I'd never met this family, but I went to their house with communion and to anoint. And for a couple of months, I would go about once a week to bring communion and to anoint. People I've never met before, people from totally different culture. And but they welcomed me into their home in the name of God. They welcomed me into their home in His name, and because they love God and they wish to bring Him more into their home. I can't tell you how many good meals I ate when I went over there to to bring the sacraments. I almost felt guilty. I'm like, here I'm obviously bringing them Jesus, but I'm eating arepas, I'm eating empanadas, I'm eating rice. Just every time it'd just be some amazing meal. And the miracle that started to unfold was one of friendship, and one of belonging, and one of family. To the point where when the young mother, Daimi, was dying, they called me. I got there just minutes afterwards. And we shared that moment together as if it was our own family. We prayed together. A few days later, I would celebrate that funeral. But miracles happen when we welcome people into our life and into our home in the name of God. And so as we look in our own lives, just to be ready for those unexpected guests. This woman of importance wasn't exactly expecting a prophet to come by her house. Abraham and Sarah weren't exactly expecting three angels to come and dine with them. This Venezuelan family wasn't exactly expecting this tall blonde priest to show up with sacraments. But in all circumstances, there was a welcoming in the name of God, and then miracles happened. I remember reflecting with this family, after Daimi's death, and just said, we're so thankful to God and His providence of bringing us together. And for her to be able to have the sacraments, they're a very pious family, but coming to the country, not as connected with the church, not as sure how things worked. And to be able to have the sacraments as she died, and to be able to have that peace and have that accompaniment in this difficult time, it was a miracle that God had really arranged. And all of that through the attentiveness of this other family who only knew them kind of peripherally. But they saw that child who needed a cup of water. They saw that person who needed the presence of Christ, and they reached out and helped to be God's messenger. How does God want to bring these kind of miracles into our own life as we welcome people into our midst in the name of God.